Jaden sat across from Judge Rebecca Hart in the private conference room, the tension between them thick and almost suffocating. The walls, lined with law books and framed degrees, seemed to close in as Rebecca took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing thoughts. Jaden's fingers fidgeted against his jeans. His eyes locked on Rebecca with a mixture of anger, hurt, and desperate hope. He had dreamed of this moment for years, finding the woman who had given him life, the mother who had left him behind. Now, she was right in front of him, but the distance between them felt insurmountable. Rebecca folded her hands on the table and exhaled slowly. "Jaden," she started, her voice softer than it had been in the courtroom. "I know you have questions." Jaden's throat tightened. "Yeah," he whispered, "I do." He hesitated before looking her in the eyes. "Why did you give me away?" His voice was raw, unfiltered pain laced within it. "Why didn't you come back for me?" Rebecca's chest ached at his words. How could she explain something she barely understood herself? How could she undo a lifetime of absence? "I was 17 when I found out I was pregnant with you," she said carefully. "My parents, they didn't give me a choice. They said I was too young, that I'd ruin my life if I kept you. I was scared, Jaden. I thought I was doing what was best for you." Jaden's hands balled into fists. "Best for me?" His voice rose. "You left me in the system. Do you know what it's like to grow up with no one? To move from house to house, hoping someone would want you?" Rebecca's stomach twisted. She had imagined this conversation so many times, but nothing could have prepared her for the anger and pain in his voice. "I thought you were adopted," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was told a family had taken you in. I didn't know you ended up in the system." Jaden's expression twisted with disbelief. "Well, I did." Silence stretched between them. Rebecca reached into the pocket of her robe and pulled out the old, faded photograph she had hidden for years. She slid it across the table toward him. Jaden hesitated before picking it up. His fingers trembled as he stared at the image of a tiny baby wrapped in a yellow blanket. "I never forgot you," Rebecca said, her voice breaking. "I thought about you every single day. I kept this picture because it was the only thing I had left of you." Jaden swallowed hard. The anger inside him still burned, but now it was mixed with something else: doubt, sadness, longing. He traced the edges of the photo, his voice quieter now. "I needed you." Rebecca's heart shattered. "I know," she whispered, "and I failed you. I won't make excuses for that, but if you'll let me, I want to know you. I want to try." Jaden looked up, searching her face for any sign of insincerity. He had spent his whole life being let down by adults who made empty promises. "Why now?" he asked. Rebecca inhaled deeply. "Because today, you stood in my courtroom and forced me to face something I've been running from my whole life. I can't change the past, but I don't want to run anymore." Jaden's lips pressed together. He wasn't ready to forgive, not yet. But maybe, just maybe, he was willing to try. He slid the photograph into his pocket, his voice barely above a whisper. "Okay." Rebecca blinked back tears, nodding. For the first time in both of their lives, there was a path forward, uncertain, painful, but filled with the possibility of something they had both longed for. A second chance. "Would you like any changes or additions?"